What's up, guys? Happy Friday, and that means it's another Flashback Friday. So, oh my god, this is something. Oh my gosh. I know Halloween has passed, and it was just so funny because I remember, like, it was Halloween, and all of a sudden, a memory came in of a guy I used to go to school with back in middle school. And this guy, I mean, yeah, he was out there, and his family wasn't really what people would call classy. But compared to the kids that were there, he was a lot more, like, he wasn't as full of himself as the other kids were. And he clearly didn't take bull crap from anyone. He really did not take bull crap from anyone. And he was cool. Yeah, he had some a-hole-ish qualities, but compared to like the other guys there, he was real. He wasn't fake. These guys were fake. He was not fake. Like, that's the only thing I can say. He was real. He wasn't a hypocrite. He was not a fake. If obviously he didn't like something, he would freaking tell you how it was. And of course, not many people like that, but he clearly was not gonna abide by anyone's rules if it meant he had to sacrifice his genuality. And I was the same way too. Like, dude, good. Very few people there. Just because I'm in a school where you guys want to act like fakes doesn't mean I have to be a fake too. But yeah, he was like he was one of those guys. And I would talk to him. I've never had a problem with him. Other people's had a problem with him, and for that reason, me, I didn't care because it was like, whatever. I'm not going to school for him. I'm going to school for me. Kind of going to that school because I had no choice. But he was a good guy. I mean, not a good guy to hang out with and things like that, but in the sense of like having a head, he was out there. And he was a typical 12, 13-year-old. What typical 12, 13-year-old wouldn't act rebellious and stuff like that. But this is something that happened that was just so funny. So he ended up coming to school with no shoes on. So when I was in middle school, I went to private school, and we had uniforms. Everything had to be uniformed, from the shoes to the socks, to the vest to the skirt. And if you were a guy, from the shirt to the pants to the shoes, everything had to be uniformed. What they said the uniform was, it had to meet their requirements. That is the truth. I mean, out of all the things that they could have been strict in, they were really strict when it came with the uniform. So one day he came to school without shoes. Now, I don't know what possessed his family to let him go to school without shoes. I guess they were trying to teach him a lesson, or they really didn't think it was a big deal. I mean, his parents, I will say, sometimes didn't seem to be there. They didn't seem to be there. He was there now, but they weren't. But obviously, sometimes you often gotta look like, okay, I guess something ain't clean about this. But anywho, mind your business. So he went to school without shoes. Now, mind you, the day before was Halloween. So he had told the story many times. And what happened was, he and his sister, they both went trick-or-treating after school. So basically they had the bag and everything, and he was walking around with his school shoes on, trick-or-treating. It got to a point where his feet started to hurt. So he had taken off his shoes and put the shoes in his candy bag, in the bag that he was trick-or-treating with. And he continued on trick-or-treating. And then he claims that someone came and stole his candy. You know, on Halloween, people will steal people's candy. So someone stole his candy while his shoes were in the candy bag. So, so basically, the teachers weren't happy about it. They were having a complex about it. And there was this woman there was this teacher. She really did not like him. Like she hated this guy. Like, okay, like I understand, everyone has their reasons not to like someone, and that's their reasons. And I'm sure there have been times where there were certain students where teachers don't like them, and there's a reason for that. It's the way they conduct themselves. If they're being rebellious and disruptive and are not just taking the class seriously, of course, that's, sort of acceptable, um, understandable reasons, because like anyone, you want them to behave in an acceptable manner. And, you know, he was a typical 12, 13-year-old kid who, had gotten his hands in rebellion and things like that. That's completely normal. That's completely normal. And of course, that, it's okay. But if you're going to really hate a student and give them a hard time, then you really should not be teaching. And that's not professional. That's not acceptable. That is not acceptable. But she really did not like this guy. And again, like I said, he was the guy who didn't care who was what. If you said something, he would let you have it. And he would do that with the teachers sometimes. And some of the teachers just didn't like it, calling him disruptive and stuff like that. Some of the stuff I have seen the outburst. Somebody's like, okay, really, dude, I think you need to calm down a bit. And others were like, yeah, that is understandable. I'm not saying anything I agree with, but, I'm not saying anything. But yeah, so she really did not like him. And he had told the story numerous times. It has not changed. And like, it was like either she was trying to understand it or she was trying to make him look like a fool enough that he already was for coming to school without no shoes. So, like, he kept on explaining the story. Yes, someone took my bag, and the bag, she's like, oh, someone took your shoes. I said, she's like he's going, no, the shoes were in the bag. They took the bag. When they took the bag, they not only took the candy, they also took my shoes that were in the bag. I took off my shoes because they were hurting me, and I put them there. Things like that. Like, the teacher obviously was just trying to make a fool of him because she really didn't like him. She hated him. She hated that book. But yeah, I can't remember if he got new shoes or like the parents just had enough of that school and they just didn't come back. Because I do remember he didn't come back at all. So, and not only that, the mom I've seen at times pissed off, like, durr, durr, durr. But yeah, he came to school without shoes on because someone took his bag of candy, unbeknownst to them that his shoes were in the bag. You can't make this stuff up. I wasn't there. I didn't see this, but like, to hear the story is just, it's just crazy because he didn't have shoes on. Like, what's he about to say? The dog ate his shoes. Talking about someone smelling. All I can hear is like, trick or treat, smell my feet, give me something good to eat. Well, you know what? Whoever took it, they're gonna have something good to eat. Let's just hope that the feet didn't kill it. He got to smell his feet. It was his shoes. Oh my gosh.